Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Looks Rare podcast. I did not have time to do my JCal intros. Sorry about that. It's been a kind of a busy day. Plus, I'm just too depressed with the bear market right now. But we got three other people, I think, maybe four. We're trying to round up the rest of the crew. But right now, I got the Green Iguana and I got Mr. Punk Vandelay. So welcome, Pep. Welcome, Van.
Hey, guys.
So we were just talking off air. You just reached your day number 367, 368 of ownership of your Fidenza. So you listed it for sale.
I did. Yeah. I minted it and held it all this time thinking it would keep its value. And it didn't really work out. But yeah, I made it to the 1 year mark. So at least long-term capital gains.
Come on, you got to look back. You got to take a step back, though. I mean, what did you pay for it?
Yeah, exactly. I paid, I don't even know. It was like what was it? Like 0.1 or something?
So nothing, basically.
Yeah, it was basically free. And then the gas it wasn't a gas war either. So it was just minimal gas.
Basically, It was a rounding error. It was the price. And so even if you could sell it for, I don't know, what are you hoping to sell it for?
I'm hoping to sell it for around 90. I have it listed for 94, but if someone wants to put in an offer for 90, I'll take it right now.
So do you think that's a particular, and I don't mean this to be an ass, like, do you think it's a particularly nice Fidenza, like a mid tier? Like how would you rank it? Because I can't really tell by looking at it, to be honest. Yeah.
So it's just soft shapes, which people tend to like, just how they look. The only thing is, what is it? Golf socks. I think this is the color scheme for it, which it's a little polarizing. Some people hate it. So it just depends. But I think it's not a complete floor, but I would say it's a little bit above a floor. Typically.
So the palette for the whole thing is called golf socks, like not just the color of the shape, or not just the background color, but like the whole palette.
Yeah, I think it's just that color scheme. It has like the green and the like that.
I'm looking at it right now and I'm comparing it. So right now you have it listed. There's there's 6 below yours on OpenSea. Mm-hmm. The lowest is 73. So I would have to say that if you think you're selling it for 94, good luck. But I mean, honestly, like for me, like, I don't know, Fidenzas are very subjective, I think. So who knows? But like if I'm looking at the 8 that are there, yours is included. The one I'm drawn to the most is the third from the bottom, which is a black one. Most of to me, those dark ones really stick out. And then after that, I mean, I don't know. I think, I can see how yours, I see the soft shapes and I do like those more. The spiral ones always go for more, right? So you're not going to see any spirals like on the floor.
Yeah. Personally, I like the soft shapes. And so I like that, mine, and then the one a little less than mine. What is it? What number is that? 548, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I think those two, are ones I would choose if I was a buyer.
The second one is really weird looking. I really don't like that one. Number 175. I haven't ever seen one like that, but has that big wide stripe at the top. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what's cool about Fidenzas is that, God, they all look so different. Yeah, you instantly know it's a Fidenza, but then when you really, like, I'm just scrolling down, like there's so many cool ones. They're all so different. Oh, there's mine. Mine's listed for 214.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the guy that bought it. It was interesting. Someone tweeted out that they wanted to trade their Bored Ape. Was it today? It was earlier. I think it was earlier today. All the days are starting to blend together for a Fidenza. So I did reach out to that guy, but ultimately he had some offers out there. So he's the guy that bought the latest one for 75 ETH. Mm-hmm. So he bought one that it looked just like mine too. So I feel like we would have made a deal if that person hadn't accepted that offer.
Welcome, Deb. Deb just joined us.
Sorry for being late.
No worries. So Van, I feel like you've had like 4 or 5 potential Fidenza trades that fell through.
Mm-hmm.
Is it usually for a punk, or what else are you trying to get?
Yeah, I've been mainly aiming for punks. So there's been a few where the punk buyers have been very close, and then they just kind of backed out at the very end. That's the tough thing about these trades for blue chip projects. It's hard to part with your own NFT. So I think in the end they just decided they liked their punk more, and then it ended up hanging on to it.
It's funny. I was going to say that the floor is really thin because technically it is if you look, but I mean, that's such a misconception, right? Because let's say someone comes in and buys the bottom three, 73, 75, 75. Damn well, people are going to instantly start listing for 74, like that. It's not like it's just going to stay. It's really not in this market, but I think we fool ourselves. I mean, there's only 500, so it's not like there's that many out there that people are going to sell, but I think we fool ourselves in thinking these, the way these markets work. Like I've noticed lots of times when you try to list under floor on something that hasn't sold a whole lot of volume, and then you go back and look a little later and like 3 other people have just undercut you,
It'd be interesting to see what the Fidenza price has looked in fiat terms. Because right now they're all under, under even 90K, right?
I'll see if I can find a good Nansen board. A good Dune dashboard while you're talking. Let me keep searching.
Yeah, so I felt dumb for selling mine, but I think I sold mine for 118,000, something like that. So still a lot more than they're selling for now.
Exactly.
Of course, I took some of that ETH and just either held on to it or put it into I put half into fiat, but I mean, that was just for taxes. And then I put the other half into ETH and or NFTs. So it's not like I really did very well with that investment either at the moment.
How do you guys feel about art blocks in general? Even, the market's pretty rough right now, but long term.
I think long term is one of the most solid ones, man.
Yeah, I think it's more solid for sure. I haven't looked at the market in a week, really. I noticed that chromies are always at 5.8 ETH or something, even though, ETH has gone down quite a bit.
What is actually not bad, eh? It's 5K per chromie. But
yeah, I mean, it's in fiat terms, it seems like a steal.
It does. What is the, on that note, what's the currency floor at right now, the Damien Hirst? I haven't looked at that either. It's sort of everything's so wrecked. I don't even really want to look. 5.93, which is in ETH terms about what it's been, but in US dollar terms, it's down because it was at 10,000 for a long time. So you can get one for 6,600. I mean, we minted them for 2,000 and they're receiving. I never thought it was telling. I never thought I'd go that close to 2,000 again. But
what's the supply for the currency?
10,000.
Okay.
Although as the ones get burned, the NFT supply goes down. So how many someone had shown us a chart. I think it was Yuri that showed all the ones that have been burned. And I want to say it was at least 1,000. So that means the NFT supply is down to yet. Plus a bunch of mine are locked up on Palm. So
exactly. Yeah. The reason you don't see the number on OpenSea that high is, they're all on Palm and they have a market on Palm also.
So should we talk about goblins?
Sure. Could talk about the team doxing themselves.
Yeah, the whole truth thing. And well, I didn't get a chance to look at it too much, but they did Illuminati. Honestly, I don't think I had heard of any of the stuff they had done. And I guess they've been around for a while, but kind of under the radar for most people.
That was actually, I think we were all whitelisted for Illuminati, and we ended up getting one.
Yeah, I remember being offered a whitelist, but it wasn't the mint cost pretty high. I remember just passing on it because it
was 2 ETH or 2.5, I think.
Oh wow! No, I don't even remember that, to be honest.
Yeah, I sold it right away, man. I don't even think I minted it, actually. Did I? I did. Yes, I did mint it. It was last summer.
It's kind of interesting, even with that Illuminati one. I remember looking at the site, and it seemed very mysterious, and you weren't sure what you were getting from minting. And I guess with the goblins too, they kind of hid the fact who they were behind it. So there's always been a sort of some sort of it being hidden, and they weren't very upfront about what the roadmap looked like for the projects.
Yeah, like they're all about the mystique of it and everything.
Mhm.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of that Do Not Mint project, which to my knowledge still hasn't come into existence. I check their Twitter every once in a while, but
Holy
So
shit,
would-
the market is tanking again. Wow.
what is ETH at?
1,115. But it looks
Shut
like there's
up.
going to be some more liquidations tonight.
Oh my god!
Because,
I'm gonna have to buy. I'm gonna
USD.
buy some of these prices. What are you guys
Yeah.
buying?
Well, I bought some at 1,100 last night. I ended up recouping. So remember all the ETH I sold 2 days ago? So I bought everything back at that.
Oh yeah,
Price.
just a tax harvest. Nice. So that worked out
Exactly.
for you.
And I'm going to buy, basically I had like some money left over. I'm going to buy. So anything under, let's say $900, I'm buying. I'm just going to start buying ETH until I can't buy anymore and pray for the best. Hail Mary.
I don't think that's a bad idea. That's what I'm going to do too. I've been like kind of lazy and I got to pull out my ledger, so I haven't really had time to do that yet. But yeah, I was going to sell. What did you sell your ETH at the other day?
I sold it at 1,523.
Oh wow, okay.
So I got a massive loss because my average is about 2,600, 2,700. And just the fact, so basically I bought back WETH, which is, so there's two train of thoughts. Some people are saying that it's technically a different coin. So you could tax loss harvest, right? Within that 30 days. So I was reading a bunch of articles and some CPAs were saying, yes, it's, in Canada, it's legal. So that's what I did. So instead of buying ETH, I bought WETH. And in 30 days, I'll swap it back to ETH and hopefully it's lower. So then I'll get some more tax loss.
So wait a minute, you took ETH and sold it for fiat or for USDC?
Exactly.
USDC. And then you took that USDC and bought WETH at 1100. So you basically increased your ETH supply while at the same time getting a massive tax harvest.
Exactly.
That's some chess, some fucking chess right there. You're not playing checkers.
Yeah, because
like
technically it's a different coin altogether, right? If you look at the technicals, and you can't bid with ETH, you can only bid with WETH, and there's specific things you can only do with wrapped ETH. So if you go to court or anything, it's technically a different coin you bought.
I think what you did is super 100% legit, but what's a little more iffy is if you just swap it for WETH and use that as a tax harvest. Like supposedly you can do that, but that seemed a little weird.
And if we get to the point that I'm stood in front of a judge trying to argue that WETH was different to ETH, I think I fucked up anyway. I don't think I'm going to win if they put.
That's a good point.
Yeah. and not tax advice.
Yeah,
for sure.
We don't know what we're talking about.
We don't.
I don't know if you can still see my screen, but I just pulled up a USD chart of Fidenza floor since June.
Okay.
So it kind of peaked out at 875k average sale, and we're down at 258. So I mean, it's pretty.
Okay.
How is the average sale that high?
I guess because on those days there must have been like one sale for like 269 or like a couple of, I don't know. I weren't paying super close attention to the volume at that point, but
it was probably those really large, like the spiral ones that were selling. That peak is when Zinc sold his Fidenza.
Yeah, no, that's him.
Oh yeah, it totally is, dude.
The floor was like 500K at that time.
Yeah.
Don't remind me. I turned down a $400,000 bid on mine.
I did too.
You've got an offer on yours now, did you say, Van? You've actually got like an offer that you could accept right now.
I do. I have a 50.
Do it.
Are you not tempted?
Do I accept it live?
Do it for the art.
And then everyone's just going to comment like, oof, like, wow, this guy just sold it for the cheapest that you'll ever see. Yeah.
Shout out Killy in the chat and anyone else who's joined the chat. So
what's up, Killy? So No shit. I woke up in the middle of the night last night and I had to go pee or something. And I started thinking, and I was like, wait a minute. If I buy an NFT with ETH, is that taxable? And I couldn't remember. And I'm like, wait a minute. They think that's that's selling ETH. And I got so, even though I totally know this, I was like half asleep and I was so confused. And I swear I like went back to sleep and had this weird like dream about trying to figure out what the fuck happens when you buy an NFT and how that works. No, it's so confusing. Why is it so confusing?
Bear market things.
Yeah.
In the last week or two, I've had some really strange dreams. And I don't know if they're market related or whatever. Like I had a dream a few nights ago, and I even posted about this on Twitter. And I'm not one of these people that would share their dreams normally, but I had a dream where one of my friends, a close friend, beat someone up, the son of someone scary. And then the dream was basically me trying to not get punished for my friend's mistake. And I didn't know if it was like analogous to.
That's definitely a bear market dream.
Yeah, me being in stables and watching everyone else's portfolio crumble.
You're terrified.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Well, I'm getting married next week, and I'm glad my wife to be is understanding that our caterer changed to McDonald's, and our Motel 6 is now where we're staying on our honeymoon. So she's very accommodating.
Yeah, she's a keeper. She understands how bad it is right now.
Oh yeah. But actually, she was cool about it. She was like, yeah, well, she asked me how low it went, and I told her, and she's like, yeah, it'll go back up. I'm like, yeah, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm notorious for not taking gains, and my wife has been reminding me all week that I should have been selling, like she's told me 100 times.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so hard. Like what?
Yeah, it's so hard.
I don't know. Like I was even, I even when I kind of knew I should be selling, I looked at my stuff and I sold a bunch of crap that I didn't really care about that I was able to sell. So I'm glad I did that. We never give ourselves credit. Like we only look at what we didn't do. Mm-hmm. Which is like we always compare it to the top and compare it to the bottom and like act as if we would, like why are we comparing ourselves to the perfect trader, which doesn't even exist? We shouldn't do that. But even having said all that, like I looked at I have a rainbow puke doodle. I really like it. And I like the chat I'm in, which is sort of like an ownership to this chat. And so I really didn't want to sell it, but then I was looking at it and I still could have sold it for probably, I probably could have sold it for 80K at this time. And, now I'm wondering like, why didn't I do that? Because you can always buy it back later, like a different one, if you really like it, you can still buy it back later. And so I don't know. I just look at, I'm like, why did what was I thinking? I don't know. If I thought these were going to go down, why didn't I sell more of them?
Yeah. It's really tough because we do know what timing in the top looks like, and we see people do it. So, it's impossible to be perfect, but with everyone's, trades so public like this, you can see actually people time the top and all that, So yeah, it's hard to like not look back and think, oh, why didn't I just do that same thing?
But people always brag about their top sales and their bottom buys, but they don't brag about all their losses, so. Mm-hmm. I will say, like, for the longest time last year when we were, making money flipping, but then always selling too early and then having to pay taxes. And then you look at people like, I don't know, like Justin and Dave and probably Jimmy and other people like that who just buy and hold. They occasionally sell. I think Jimmy sells more than those guys, but some guys just buy and hold. DC investor, just buy and hold, and for so long, I was like, well, why wasn't I doing that? That would have been the smartest way to go. But then I don't know. Now they're probably going, I could have taken some profits. That would have been nice, So I don't know. There's always two sides to it.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Yeah.
Well, was that an 1800 ETH ringer sale?
We haven't talked about the elephant in the room yet, which is obviously the circulating rumors that Three Arrows Capital are in some significant trouble. And they've kind of seemed to have confirmed that in the last few hours with a couple of tweets, mysterious from Suzu. I was trying to find the Starry Night wallet to see if I could see what it is that they own.
I think I saw a tweet, they cleared it out. The wallet's empty now.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
What does that
looks
mean?
like
So they're selling or they're not selling?
no, they just moved it to other wallets.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, because you know how their wallet was kind of publicly named. So I think they just dispersed it to other wallets.
So Starry Night Capital, is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the benefit of doing that?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But this buy looks like something they made, to be honest.
Who's Pixel Pete? Pixel Pete is a fucking champ.
Chad, absolute fucking Chad.
Jesus, he bought that for 1.26 ETH on a bid, and then he sold it for 1,800 ETH.
He can be wrong.
Like
yeah, he can be wrong on every single trade after that, and he's still a legend.
I love
like
Pixel Pete.
4 million at the peak, man. Wow.
So crazy.
But it's funny, we were talking even last week on the last stream, I think we spoke about Starry Night a bit and how was it sustainable that they were able to spend so much money on pieces, some of which might be significant, some of which might be random, because at points VVD bought some weird shit. But yeah, we were literally talking about how is it sustainable, how is it possible that they could do that, and then a week later we're talking about the fund having solvency issues potentially. So it's like, well, maybe it wasn't sustainable. Maybe we did outtrade 3AC. Who knows?
Yeah. At times, it seemed like they had infinite funds, right? They just kept buying piece after piece, just with large purchase prices.
There's sort of an element of, when you make such big buys like that, there's sort of an element of you're making the market, right? So like you kind of think that in the act of paying this much for these, you're kind of validating their worth.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's pretty, dangerous logic, right?
But I think you're right. I think to other participants it kind of did, because the meme, the funds are coming, the funds are here. That was the meme, wasn't it? For sure. Especially with art blocks in particular, like.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're buying, because they were buying the rarest Fidenza or the rarest ringer, which is the person that who are you going to sell that to, right? There's only a handful of people that can actually afford that are in the NFT space, right? So they I don't know who who they're selling their bags to.
Yeah, that's a flex. I mean, that's like something you do to promote a company or a museum or something that you're opening. It's like you're not buying that to then sell it later for profit.
Yeah, or an asset class, I guess. Maybe if it was like an advertising buy, do everyone a favor, do the market a favor.
What do you guys think about this whole free mint trend and where that's headed, and kind of how that compares to how things were? And I mean, I've noticed a few projects have tried to mint this last week that weren't free, and they don't even sell out. Like they're selling like half of their supply. One was Icon, which was an expensive mint, like 0.22, and they ended up just saying, "We'll close it at 5,000 instead of 10,000, and everyone will get 2 for the price of 1." And then I heard on NFT Catcher Pod, I heard them talking about the newest thing from the Invisible Friends people. I don't even remember what it's called, and it didn't do well. It didn't sell out, which is kind of surprising considering that it's not surprising considering the market. But I mean, that's like if that doesn't sell out, then I don't even remember hearing about it. Did you guys even hear about that?
Nope.
No, I didn't hear about it either.
Yeah, so it's oddly low key. I mean, compared to how Invisible Friends was, which was like super hyped and, I think sold out instantly.
How's that going?
I mean, last I looked, it was like on par with everything else. The floor dropped by like half ETH terms and, 75% US dollar terms or whatever.
I think that's a trend now, Scaly. It's, it's funny how the market changes so quickly within a month, right? Everyone's talking about utility and, paying 1 to 2 ETH per mint. And now, it's completely changed. People don't even want utility. As soon as they hear utility in a project, they start thinking it's scammy or whatever. It's just like really fascinating, the whole market psychology of the NFT market.
Really good point. It is fascinating, and it does happen so fast. I mean, I think 2 months ago, we're saying the opposite. Like it's got to have utility, or no one's going to want it. I think we were talking about drifter shoots getting all this crap for not offering utility, and some of these other things, and things like art blocks that don't offer utility. And you're right. Now utility is almost a dirty word. It's kind of funny.
I mean, utility has its place, but I think everything we had in the past couple of months was just really, excuse my language, but it was like bullshit, right? You're getting a free hoodie or a t-shirt. You could do that yourself. You don't need to pay $200K for a hoodie or a cap or whatever.
Stickers. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of the whole merch thing. Yeah.
Boys, we're breaking down. We're at 1,000. Woo, you broke 1,100.
Good. Yeah. Live.
Jeez.
We should probably get off the air soon. We're bad luck here. I'm updating. I'm looking at CoinMarketCap. It's not quite caught up. What are you looking at? TradingView?
I'm looking at Binance.
Oh, okay.
It's quick for me. I see right away.
Yeah, I'm just glancing at it, but I don't know, dude. If it breaks 1,000 tonight, I'm definitely gonna buy. I might just buy a bunch and just be done with it, and then just wait it out. I was gonna say, not financial advice, but and actually remind me after I say this, you had said something earlier, Deb, about how you feel like this is scarier than last time. And I'm curious. Yes. I wanted to explore that with you because I kind of disagree, but I want to hear where you're coming from with that. But I was going to say, not financial advice, but I tweeted yesterday, like if you're just watching this market crash and you're just still like paralyzed by it, which sounds weird, but it totally happens. I think everyone realizes it happens. Who's in it. It's like, you just are like, you don't know what to do. I would say now it's too late to trade. Like, don't try to trade on this market. Like don't sell your shit now. Like, even, I'm not saying it won't go down more, but like, let's just take an example. Like, let's say right now it dumps to 900 tonight, and you see that and you go, what the fuck? I got to sell. This is crazy. It can only go so low. Like, ETH isn't going to zero. So like, that's when you panic sell. And even if you sell at 900 and it goes down to 700 or 600, and you're like, oh, look, I was smart. But then you got to sit there and worry about when do you buy back in. And I guarantee you'll miss it. And then it'll go back to 1,100. And then you'll be sitting there going, well, it's going to go back down. And then it'll go to, 1,500. And then you'll be like, what the fuck did I just do? And then you'll buy, and then it'll go back down. Like you can't fucking win with that. So if you didn't trade on this market in the last 2 weeks in anticipation of what happened, you're not going to successfully be able to trade on it now. I would just say, sit it out, hold on to your bags. And actually, if you have more money to put in, consider doing that, but I wouldn't like sell now, even, it's so tricky.
But if you owe a lot of taxes, like, you could tax loss harvest. I think it's a great time to do that as well, especially if you live in the States and you don't have the 30-day rule where you could buy back. It's fantastic.
So that's a really good point. And you did it really well. For some reason, that just makes me nervous. I don't know why, but I guess I should do that, right? Like, if I have a lot of ETH right now, I should just sell it all just for that reason. Yeah. And then I could buy WETH like tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
And even if I lose a little bit of money, I'm gonna make a lot of money on tax.
Exactly.
Harvesting.
Totally.
That's a good point.
And like, I'll send you a bunch of articles on it, and there are arguments for both sides of the equations. But the thing is, if you stay consistent, because last year I made, a lot of the money that I lost in taxes was because my ETH average was, let's say, 1,200, and then I bought something at 4,000 ETH, right? So I paid like a huge, just converting my ETH to WETH. It was a huge tax capital gain, and which I paid for that, right? So if I'm consistent this year doing the same thing, like, why wouldn't it be taxed as well? You know what I mean?
Yeah, going the other way.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think, look, like there's people who are trying to be criminals, and there's people who are trying to do everything the right way. And I think it's clear you're trying to do the things in the right way. And like you said, you could say, look, I paid all these taxes following this rule last year. So it's only fair that I follow the same rule this year and get to, save money on taxes.
That way you tweet.
That's interesting. I should do that.
Is that why you tweet about it so much, Dev? So that if you are ever audited or in court, you can just print out a list of your tweets. Look what I did. Look at my track record. I was fucking.
It's a secret, bro.
I was missing. It's a life hack.
Well, yeah. Well, if Dev is in trouble with taxes, then we're all screwed.
Yeah.
He's like the most diligent about it out of all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Better play it safe, I find.
You were talking about a similar discussion on Spaces you guys did a couple of nights ago, and it's interesting you brought it back up because a couple of thoughts came to mind whilst you were chatting. One is like, whilst I agree with Scaly that if you're trying to trade this, you've probably left it way too late and the time to panic sell isn't now. But there's also, if you're, say, an artist that owes income tax on sales and you're already seeing the value of the ETH you've held on to slide and slide and slide, that's probably like one scenario where it's never too late to kind of panic dump, if that makes sense, because you still got to find that money somewhere. Like that's got to come from somewhere, and ETH could go to 500 and then you're even more fucking screwed. So like there are scenarios where panic dumping is the right move, even if it's like the latest panic dump ever. Surely there's some situations where that matters. The other point that came to mind when you were talking about it the other night, you were talking about timing and how you can you're never going to get it perfect because you might buy at 1100, say, and then it goes to 900 and you regret that, or you see it go down to 900 and then recover because you didn't have the conviction or the kahunas to bid the very bottom or whatever. You just layer your bids, like buy some on the way down and then buy some on the way back up. If you're hoping to kind of time the bottom somewhat close, you could just kind of don't pick a cutoff point and just say, right, this is me all in here, or this is me all out here. Like,
right,
split into chunks.
Yeah, that's what I usually do. That's a good point. So if let's say, for example, you have 20K you want to buy ETH with, you could place bids right now at 1,000. You put 5,000 at 1,050, 5,000 at 1,000, 5,000 at 850, 5,000 at 750, or something, 800, and then just see what happens with that. And then, that's actually a better way to do it, I think. Although, the other way to look at it is, if you're just trying to get ETH because you believe in it long term and you're using money you don't need anytime soon, and ETH goes back up to $5,000, which we all hope it will at some point. We don't know when, but let's say that happens. When you look back, it doesn't really matter if you bought it for 800 or 900, right? Mm-hmm. Or even 1,000. It's like, that's not going to make much difference. So you don't want to, it doesn't matter that much is what I'm saying. It can just, we're not day trading, right?
No, it can just make you feel a bit better about not getting the timing exactly perfect. It's the same in reverse on the way up. Like, if you're always selling on as FOMO's increasing, as hype's increasing, as everyone's talking about your project or your coin or whatever it is that you're invested in, if you're selling on the way up, then it doesn't really matter if you time the exact top, because you had some sales near the top and you had some sales sort of after the top, but in general you sold a lot around that area. And it's the same with the bidding in reverse, I guess. As long as you kind of are bidding in and around where things are bottoming out, you can feel a lot better about the timing. And like, it didn't really matter whether you timed it perfectly, because you never intended to time it perfectly. You only ever intended to sell when the prices look good and buy when the prices look good. And
right. And you can I think you can pretty accurately feel the momentum if you've been in the market for a while. So like for example, when I sold my CryptoPunk for a lot of money, I knew ETH was going up. Like, it was very obvious it was going up. So then I didn't want to just sit on it and not cash out enough for taxes. So then I did what you said. I sold some right away, and then I put bids for like a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, and then they all hit. And then I felt good. And then ETH went up even more, but it's like, well, but that's still pretty good, And then same when you're going down, you can do the same. And it's honestly more like for your mental well-being.
Exactly. It frees you up to make better decisions, because you're not putting so much emphasis on trying to get it exactly right, because no one can get it exactly right. It's impossible. By definition, there's only one sale at the top and there's only one sale at the bottom or whatever.
What actually makes me happy in all of this? sorry guys. I just want to it's like a bit of positivity for you guys. I don't know if you guys were around when Bitcoin was at 9K, when it was breaking 9K for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys around on Twitter?
Yeah, I was.
So you remember the whole over 9,000 meme?
Yeah.
Vegeta meme.
Mm.
So I keep thinking about that in my head for like ETH one day. It's like one day we're going to be looking back at all this, and we're going to be on Twitter saying over 9K for like ETH. So that's the only thing that keeps playing on my mind, and the only thing that we could do now is DCA or buy in slowly and just hope for the best. And just wish for that meme to come through one day on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we're using money that we can afford to lose, which is the number one advice. And then
for sure,
if you are so leveraged out that you're, freaking out right now, then it's hard for me to feel sorry for you, because when you use leverage, you're just being greedy. It's never, talk about risky.
Or the best thing is just like, don't even learn how to use leverage. I still don't know how to use leverage, man.
Yeah, I've never done it. I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
rather not
very risky. Yeah, a risky move. Curious to hear, now that we're in the thick of the bear market, what are some things that, if you could go back, that you would do differently? God forbid we, enter another bull cycle here eventually. Mm-hmm. And then, what are some of the changes you would make?
Well,
I would have sold more.
Yeah. I mean, sold more is the easy answer, but like, I think you have to answer that in a way that's somewhat realistic. Like, obviously to say I would have sold everything at the top, it's like, well, no, that's kind of ridiculous. But I mean, I'll point to a positive example. So like when the market was just starting to go crazy, it was April of 2001. I mean, it's 2021. And that's when I sold my punk on the day, kind of like you with your Fidenza. It was like 366, 367. So it was capital gains, long term. And I sold my hoodie, single tray hoodie punk, which I bought for $485 for 130 ETH, which was $349,000. And then later, it just kept going up and up. And I realized, I could have sold it for so much more. And I kind of felt bad, but I never felt that bad because I knew that was just smart. That was just a smart move. Like that was like the first big sale I ever had. So now that I'm looking back on it, it's still probably worth more than that, but not that much more now. And like, I think despite all the price fluctuations and the fact that I could have sold it for more and it might even be worth more now, like I think that was a smart move. And I think I kind of went away from that after that because it stung so much to look and see that I could have sold it for 2 or 3 or 4 times as much. And so then that kind of made me shy to do that with other things where you're looking at it going, wow, this is, because my reaction was I'm looking at it going, I can't believe it's worth this much money. And that's crazy. Like I need to just cash this out. Like any normal person would look at me and be like, you're a fool if you don't sell this. Right. But then in the future, when I was looking at my other stuff, I could have done similar things too, like the Fidenza, like my Beeple at one point, like some other stuff. I didn't sell it because of the reason, because I was like, oh, well, I don't want it to keep going up, and I think I should have held more true to my like initial reaction that I had when I sold that punk, which was like, at that time I was a little more detached. Like I was a little more, not so much caught up in the FOMO of the whole JPEG ridiculousness. I was still able to see it like from the outside and go, this is crazy that it's even worth this much.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I think what I regret not doing is anytime I had a large sell, I didn't, I just kept the ETH as is. But I wish I would have, stabled up or, set aside some for taxes. So that's something I think, going forward, I'm gonna try to do regularly. Anytime, like if I sell this Fidenza, I'll do that. But yeah, I think it's something I think some of you guys do a great job of doing that, making sure you set aside for taxes. I know, Deb, you do. For sure.
And we know Deb does. So were you not taking out anything for taxes, Van?
Yeah, I paid out of pocket this year. Just yeah. So I haven't sold a single ETH since I've put it, or sold anything or
okay, I see.
Initially. Yeah.
Let's start some.
Yeah, so I definitely siloed my stuff off. So like I have basically a wall around all my crypto, and I'm not putting any more. Sometimes I mix it in there because it's for whatever, it's complicated. But like in general, it's like I'm not putting any more in. So if I have to pay taxes, I like force myself to pay it out of that same pot, which then kind of forces you to sell. Because if you can just use other money to pay the taxes, I do think that's kind of dangerous.
It is.
Yeah.
Dangerous, but a bit of a Chad move as well. You can just I'll just reach into my pocket for this 6-figure tax bill or whatever.
But also a very sad day when your bank account it just goes down.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like,
can we pour one out today? I had to pay quarterly taxes today.
Oh yeah,
that was fun.
Or Q2 or Q1?
Q2.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think by the end of the year, I'll get a refund because the way things are going, like you're just saying, if I harvest a bunch of shit, but whatever, I just paid it to them. I guess I'll get it back later.
Yeah. Deb, I'm going to need that article and probably a lot of our listeners.
I'll definitely send you guys a bunch.
No, dude, that's super good advice. I hope people take it because it's nothing illegal. It's totally normal. Like you're allowed to do it. You're actually encouraged by CoinTracker to do it. And it's just sitting there. Like you don't lose anything. It just sits there. You just sell it and buy it back. And meanwhile, you save you can save tons of money in taxes. And I don't really know why.
Gas doesn't cost anything at all to do it as well. It's very cheap in terms of network costs.
So do you think, I think what I was going to do, because of the whole WE thing makes me a little bit nervous and I don't exactly know. Anyway, what I was going to do was just take all my ETH, immediately sell it all for USDC, and then right after that, buy WETH like a minute later. Do you think, and then just keep that?
So I would wait a bit, man. I would wait like a day or two.
Okay.
Just like play it, you know what I mean? So it doesn't look sketchy that you were trying to do it on purpose. And which you are, right? You're playing by the rules. And there's actually an article on Coinly explaining it, right? That it is taxable. And even token tax, they have a tweet saying that it is taxable. Exactly.
So I mean, technically, you don't really have to wait. I mean, I guess it makes sense to wait more than a minute or two just to make it look like it's different transactions. But yeah, wait a day or two. That's fine.
Sorry, Pep, I'm going to send you the link. That's something I'm going to send it to you on Twitter.
Cool.
So Doquan in the chat was asking about nouns and the tax liability of their treasury. That's an interesting question. I'll let Deb go for that one. Yeah, I mean, how does that work?
Yeah,
do they have to
sorry,
pay
could you
taxes?
repeat the question?
So basically, the nouns treasury, like, do they have to pay taxes?
I have no idea, man.
Say if you're a normal venture fund and you raise like however many millions of dollars, presumably there is a tax burden associated with that, is there? I don't know how that works because I'm not a venture capitalist and I've never had millions of dollars to invest in a fund.
I don't know, but I know there's a rule in America that if you get a $10 million exemption on venture capital investments. So,
oh wow.
But that's like when you sell. So like, for example, if you buy a company for $1 million or buy into a company for $1 million and then you sell it for $100 million, that first 10 million is tax free. Or if you sell it for 10 million, you don't pay any taxes. But as far as if you're a fund collecting money, I don't believe that's taxable because they're just depositing it. But this is different, right? Like you're technically selling an NFT. So that's income. But then I don't know, are they based in like Singapore or something or?
Yeah, they're based in Singapore.
If they're based in Singapore, they probably figured that out and they're based somewhere where they don't have to pay taxes, would be my guess. If they're in the United States, they'd be totally fucked.
Oof.
Like there's an article that I read a while ago about just DAOs in general, and a lot of DAOs haven't. Well, I mean, it probably varies widely, but a lot of DAOs are in a situation where they're not really. They're a structure, I guess, a corporate structure that isn't really recognised under law. So, in the absence of kind of a recognised structure, there's depending on what they do and how they act and what liability they might open themselves up to, we could like there's like potential for litigation against DAOs, which leaves every single member of the DAO kind of on the hook for whatever it is that they're being gone after for. And I mean, I don't know how that works, and like, I know very little about it. Maybe in the show notes for this one we can put Deb's tax article. I'll try and find the thing about DAOs as well, but it's a minefield because obviously some DAOs are literally just like investment clubs between friends, and depending on where you are, I think that's absolutely fine. But then I guess depends on what kinds of activities the DAO does after that, and whether any of that is kind of taxable, because there must be, it's essentially a lot of them are operating exactly like corporations, and corporations have to pay corporation tax. In the UK it's 20% on profits or whatever, so like that, a lot of DAOs are running like corporates but without assuming any of the responsibility legally or anything else. I don't know, there was a tweet a while ago, sometime in 2021, from one of the big accounts on crypto Twitter saying that 2022 was going to be the year of prison sentences, and at the time everyone was like, "Oh, that's hilarious," but yeah, you never fucking know now. Like, who knows?
You know what I'm curious about? No, go ahead, Skilly. No,
I was going to say, imagine trying to subpoena like all these people. Like, how would you even track them down? I mean, I know it's not impossible, but it's hard.
Although there was that thing the other day about where is it? A certain jurisdiction has potentially opened the possibility up to be served court papers to an OX address
by NFT.
Yeah, by NFT. Yeah.
I saw that. Imagine the mom's basement serving, like people just serving everyone in their mom's basement.
That is.
I'd be curious to see like stats of like taxpayers and, you know, getting heart attacks or strokes or whatever. I'm sure it counts for like a massive percentage of hospitalizations each year.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, this is like the whole DAO thing and taxation. That is a very interesting topic. Like, I'm very curious. There's probably no DAOs out there that are actually, you know, filing taxes, like not including just the individuals within the DAOs, but you know, the actual gains that because the DAOs aren't just sitting on these assets, right? There's a lot of times
they trade them sometimes.
Yeah, they're trading.
Exactly. They're specifically put together in most cases for profit as the main motive. Otherwise, why form the DAO in the first place? Everyone chips in and buys a thing because collectively they can afford to spend more on it, and they're hoping that they can cash out a higher amount at a later date.
It seems like the DAOs I'm familiar with, which I'm not that familiar with them, but like Flamingo and like the Ape DAO and some other ones were all they did was buy. Like, I don't remember them ever selling anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, yeah, at least the Flamingo DAO, I don't think they haven't been selling anything, but yeah, there's definitely DAOs that are buying and selling.
Yeah, and they're probably sketch. But like, like for example, Flamingo, they seem like they would definitely be above board if anyone is, and perhaps they're just buying now, and they figure once we start selling, you know, like that gives them time to figure out the tax implications, right? Because I mean, I guess they should figure out where they should. Like, how does that work if you have 10 members, if you have 100 members, and you know they're all over the world? Like, how do you decide where? How do you define where it's actually located?
Exactly.
No idea.
And it's a lot of it's sort of like, as long as you keep your mouth shut, if all of the members of the DAO don't talk about the DAO, then does anyone know the DAO exists in the first place? So there's a lot of that.
Yeah. How do you even define it? Right?
Well, you know, I can speak from how corporations do it. So they have like entities set up in all the various countries. So they're filing in all of the locations. And that's why they have, you know, large teams of, you know, either legal teams that handle all this or accounting teams. But, you know, these DAOs don't, I think some of the larger ones like Flamingo probably has some lawyers on retainer, but I can't imagine any of these, you know, other DAOs go through that trouble at all.
No. So, Deb, I'm curious, a while back you had said, to circle back, that you felt like this cycle downturn is scarier than the last one in 2018. And I'm curious why you think that.
when I started in 2017, I started with nothing, right? And the most I made during that bull market was about 30K, which right now we spend that on an NFT. And so we all knew it was a bear market in 2018. We had hope, and anytime the market would go up a bit, it would go down like 50%, and it kept going. It kept doing that for like a year. And that whole time, me and a bunch of friends, we met on the Aeon Telegram group, and we all tried finding coins where we could multiply our gains, because we all knew at the time, because there wasn't any macro environmental risk at the time, right? It was all like we knew the market, it's like the crypto market was in a bear and it would go up sooner or later. So our whole stressor at that time was just finding projects where we could multiply our worth 50 to 100x, right? So there wasn't any external market stressors, because we knew the market would recover one day. But like now it's totally different, because it's the way this market cycle topped. A lot of coins didn't perform well. Let's say for ETH, right? It peaked at 4,900, I think, or was it 5K? I'm not sure. Which is only a 5x from its all-time high. And BTC peaked at 60K, which is about 3x. And you would think it would have done more X's. And just the externalities, what's happening now, with the whole recession happening, and I think regulation is a huge part for me. It's like all these government agencies could just up and say, you know what, you're not going to be able to withdraw your USDC or USDT to your bank accounts, and you're not going to be able. And they could up and say Ethereum is a security. There's so many different points that could just be such a negative for the crypto space that we didn't have in 2018. In 2018, it was less developed, right? So now we have more eyes on us, which makes it scarier, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys agree with me on this or not.
That's interesting. Yeah, I would take the counterpoint. I mean, I would say it sounds like you were more confident in crypto than I was in 2018. Like, I thought it was still an existential question as to whether or not it would exist. I mean, I was pretty confident Bitcoin would, but everything else, including Ethereum, like I remember distinctly doubting Ethereum at one point when it hit $80, thinking it could just be a shit coin that doesn't have any value. Whereas now I feel like it's more of a macro market thing. And to me, that's less scary because those come and go all the time. And I mean, don't worry, like the stock market's not dead forever. It never is and never will be. It can't be, mm-hmm. If it is, we're all fucked. It's like nuclear war or something.
Yeah.
So it'll come back. And then in my mind, crypto is already established. So it's going to come back too. Sorry if you hear my dog snoring in the background. But whereas back then, like I was really worried that like, yeah, you're right. There wasn't a macro thing going on then. It was more like just the crypto markets were crap, but the general market was pretty good. Economy was pretty good. And so now the economy is crappy. But I mean, the economy always goes in like a sine wave. And so it'll come back. I have no doubt it'll come back. I just don't know when. And this time around, I'm not worried either about like crypto is a fundamental part of the economy now. Mm-hmm. The regulation thing does scare me to some degree.
Even that though, like regulation there's always been the fear of regulation, and it's only ever turned out bullish in the longer term.
It was way scarier before, right?
Yeah. And like you had the ICOs of 2017, 2018, and everyone knew that a lot of those were sold in a fashion as if they were securities, but skirting securities. So we all knew that was a fear then. But in reality, what happened is a few isolated prominent cases they went after because they've only got a limited amount of resources to go after specific cases. So, I mean, before that, it was, I don't know, there's always been existential discussion about existential risks from regulation. But yeah, in hindsight, it's only ever turned out to be a legitimization of the space and a reason for bigger money to come in or institutional money to come in, or I mean, the funds are coming again. There we are. But yeah, I don't think regulation is the fear for me. And like you said, scaling macro wise, shit comes and goes in cycles and always will. So I'm not I don't know. I don't know if I was more scared back then, or I'm definitely not scared now. I think
that worries me a bit as well, man, because everyone is saying that this is going to be the end of like the 70-year bull market with everything happening. No one's going to have money after this, and we've never encountered a situation like this. And like even in 1929, we never encountered something like this. Which I'm not a finance guy, so I can't say if it's true or not. But it's it's kind of spooky, man. When you hear all this talk, it's
I'm not worried about that. I really don't. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I don't think you can compare it to 1929. Like what, the economy isn't even that bad. Like the employment's still really good. I know it's not great for tech companies right now. They're laying off, but I mean, I don't know. I just think it's a cycle like anything else. I think it'll come back. I mean, you have to realize that in a way, the stock market's rigged to always go up. I mean, first of all, like the population is growing, people go to work and they put their money into the stock market with their 401ks. So, I mean, there's just like automatic buy pressure every day from that. And, a number has to go up. Like that's how it works. And it does. I mean, it's with ups and downs, it's a straight line from its existence until now. I mean, it goes up. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to suddenly just never go up again.
Like you said, you basically, if you're trying to take that argument, you're betting against Western civilization kind of thing.
That's right.
Right.
Number has to continue to go up. Like,
yeah, unless zombie apocalypse or something, or, in which case, fine, we're all fucked. Our Bitcoin isn't going to help us then.
Plus, it's like we're moving into a more digital world, right? So as much as I'm not bearish, but I'm scared of the market right now. In 10 years, man, everything is digital. We're going to be living more in a metaverse. And what's synonymous with digital money? It's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum. And I think that's going to be part of our lives.
I think like the coming regulation is going to be stuff like legitimizing the use of stable coins and making it so that you can pay stable coins in and out of your real world bank account, whether that's USDC or whether that's a CBDC or whatever. Like that's good regulation. That's exciting. That means that there's less bullshit to getting my money in and out of this alternative system we've been building for a few years. So I don't know. It just feels we're in a period of transition, and we really needed this washout. Like obviously, shit's got massively overheated. Making money in 2021 was like easy, and it shouldn't be that easy for idiots like me to make money. So maybe it's good we're having this washout of enthusiasm and froth and shit.
Did you guys see the latest ETH collateral Three Arrows Capital FUD that's happening right now? They just released some new news. Apparently, if ETH falls to 1,014, they're going to be liquidated, which is going to have like a domino effect on the market.
Now, when people say all this stuff, is that because they can see their order, like they can see where they have loans that are collateralized with?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, how can you be a company and do that? It's never 0% the chance of that happening. So it's like, what do you say when people are like, well, what if this happens? It's a 2%, 3% chance. What's your answer? Like, we'll just figure it out, or if that doesn't happen. Like, I don't understand that. Exactly. It's not like it's that impossible to think. Like everyone's always saying, like, look at the drawdown. Like ETH went from 1,400 to 80. So if it was at 4,000, it's going to go down to 800. It's fairly predictable. So why are you betting all of your money that you're risking all of your money that's not going to happen? I just don't understand that.
Yeah, it's like we put these traders, individuals, and funds collective on a pedestal, like they're throughout the entire bull run, people will literally wallet track 3AC, copy exactly what they do, make good money because in the bull market it worked really well. But yeah, we put these funds and traders on a pedestal when really like they're not. Okay, they're going to be smarter mathematically or smarter because they've built algorithms or whatever. There's many facets of what they do that I don't know anything about. So I'm not saying they're not smart people, but when it comes down to it, they're not much different from you and I. And in some cases, you really can outtrade the best or the funds or whatever, because anyone can take their eye off the ball, or anyone can just have too much faith in the likelihood of one outcome or another. Like there must be ways to hedge that extreme, the tail risk or whatever it is that these finance guys call it. And you think surely if you had like the whole fund dies, if ETH goes to $1,100 or whatever it is, then we'll find a way of mitigating that, because you can't bet if you haven't got any more money or whatever. But yeah, no one's immune from hubris or whatever.
We're getting
Tiger Artist.
We're getting called out by Tiger Artist. He's wondering I think he stumbled across like a depressing coin trading podcast. He's wait, isn't this supposed to be about NFTs?
But you know what, man? It's actually good to know both markets. As someone who's in the crypto markets and NFT markets, I think you have an upper hand than someone just focused in the NFT markets. So I think it's a good idea to discuss both.
Yeah, if you really did just stumble across this stream, we do normally mostly talk about NFTs. It is an NFT stream / podcast. You can find us on looksrarepod.com if you want to check out previous episodes. There's quite a few people in chat. Maybe we should shout them out quickly. Alien Gathering, Asuka Mikasa, Atten, Commander Root, Dokwon, Killy, Roosh, Sophia Fox, Super, and Tiger Artist. Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't know. Yeah, I get it that we're not talking about NFTs so much, but I do think this is, like you said, you got to understand the bigger market to understand NFTs. And to be honest, there's just not a whole lot happening with NFTs this week. I mean, the volume's super low. It's sort of depressing out there. What other big news was there? I feel like there was something else I wanted to talk about.
Dokwon said, will we ever get this far down the end of the risk curve that we pump PFPs and generative art to heavenly prices, or was this a one-off? It's a good question, man. I think again.
I was going to say it won't. Not like it did. That was such an anomaly with all that COVID money pumping in. I don't see it happening quite like that. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
I agree too. I don't think we're going to get quite to those same levels. Yeah, at times it was getting out of hand. It was getting insane. We should have known it, but you start feeding into that euphoria and you just see dollar signs, right?
I think we're just very pessimistic right now. Give it a year or two, and I think our whole outlook might change. And this is coming from a very pessimistic person right now.
Definitely. I think the issue is we keep looking at the charts. We're just getting down on ourselves. Yeah, we gotta pick it back up. And yeah, things will turn around, but it is definitely a dark period right now.
Well, uncertainty is great. Eh? That's where you that's where you make a home run. That's where you can hit a home run if you play it right.
Yeah, going back to that's totally right. And just the last time this sort of thing happened, that is where that's where you kind of buckle down and do your research and figure out where you want to place your bets, and you can make crazy multiples in this sort of market.
Totally. I think about it, man. ETH did was it a 60x from the bottom last cycle?
80 to 4,600, whatever that is.
Wow, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many opportunities in this market right now. In the next couple of months, a lot of people are going to walk out of here with multi-million-dollar bags.
Yeah, but I do think the quick buck days are not necessarily going to happen again. It's more like you have to make actual investments in things that grow a little bit more gradually.
For sure.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Do you guys ever do you think ETH will ever, or BTC will ever hit an all-time high again? Or was that it? And is it going to be more slower, or is it going to be faster?
Personally, I think it's going to take a bit of time, and the time frame being 1 to 2 years out, but I think we'll eventually get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely don't think that we've seen the highest ever prices for either Bitcoin or ETH or some of these NFT projects. But I think just like shitcoins, like most of the NFTs and most of the shitcoins won't ever get back to their, COVID levels.
Mm-hmm. And everyone, like this is something that's been repeated so many times that 99% of the NFTs are going to zero. Like everyone knew that was the case. So it's just like we're playing almost, a high stakes game of like hot potato and, just hope you're not left holding the bag. But, the game has sort of, at least this first round has ended. And we'll see if the game restarts eventually. But yeah, there's going to be a ton of projects that just aren't, they're never going to go back to where they were ever again.
No, yeah, they won't. I mean, why would they? Why should they? I think we kind of knew, like when we were buying into projects, we were hoping one of them hit out of 10, maybe, or maybe out of 5. But in reality, maybe it's 1 out of 20. But, even if one of them does really well, you can still, as an investment, you can still do pretty good. You're not going to maybe make the returns you were hoping for initially, but,
like you've with existing projects, you've also got the overhead of all the bag holders so as the things pump, even if new shiny thing syndrome wasn't a thing and people were going to be as interested on the way up, there's just so many underwater bag holders to suppress the price, to kind of keep a lid on things. But I think new shiny stuff syndrome does apply, and next cycle, most of what was popular will be brand new shit, because no one wants the dinosaur stuff. It happened with the coins and that as well. Like no one, many of the dinos coins from previous cycles just never came back. And I mean, you compare that to SHIB or whatever that did 1000x pluses. It's surely the same will apply for NFTs, that in the next cycle, most of what gets most of the money chasing it will be brand new stuff, without that overhead pressure of previous bag holders to keep a lid on the price as well.
I will say that just as nothing's ever up only, I feel like we're getting close to the point where people are looking and thinking everything's down only, and it's neither. It's never either one. It's always. So we're kind of getting to the point where you're looking at the market going, God, it's never going to go back up. I guess that's the capitulation people talk about. But.
It's like, forget all this right now. Just picture yourself in 2 to 3 years. It's like, remember that feeling we had last summer? Just picture that in 2 to 3 years. That's like all that's on my mind. Like, as depressed as the situation is right now, as depressing it is.
Yeah.
Just visualize a future where Bitcoin is at 100K.
And if you believe that digital money and peer-to-peer transactions in a trustless fashion isn't going anywhere, and you also believe that the US and other governments around the world can't stop printing, ultimately, like in the short term, inflation may do what the inflation may do, but the Ponzi must continue, because otherwise Western society would collapse.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
If the money is going to be continually debased, then in 10 or 20 years, if Bitcoin and Ethereum or equivalents are still a thing, then they're going to be worth more than they're worth now in nominal terms, in dollars, because dollars are going to be worth less in real terms than they are now. So I think the show must go on, ultimately, longer term.
And human greed is always going to be there, right? So there's always going to be a market.
Yeah. Van, last week you said that you were looking at some art blocks and stuff. Have you actually been acquiring anything? Have you made any good stink bids?
I have. I've made a ton of stink bids, and there's some, diamond-handed collectors and art blocks that refuse to give up these pieces that I've been trying to get. So we'll see. We'll continue to try, but. Like the art, I think the art blocks collectors, through even the bearish periods, some collectors just refuse to sell any of their NFTs. It's their collection. They love the art. They don't, for whatever price, they don't care.
Ooh, they're mentioning Celsius. Can I brag about my Celsius move? So
you got to talk about that.
I had 50K on Celsius, and the day that Luna hit, I was like, oh fuck, I got to get that shit off of there, and I took it off, and I was able to successfully withdraw and put it into my ledger, so that felt nice.
Amazing.
But basically anything that I didn't quite understand how they were getting the yield, like I got it. I had a couple other random ass ones that I took it off, like this Harvest Finance and some other crap, and I'm like, I got to get my money off of these places. Because this is, I was always a little nervous about them. And then when that happened, it was just pretty obvious to me that like, I didn't know which one was going to fail, but it's pretty obvious another one was going to fail. And I would have, it's never too late to take shit off. Like if you have stuff on, it's not worth the potential yield you're getting right now. I would just take it off of anything really, and just keep it in your wallet, because it's scary out there. You don't know how these companies are really run, and you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a must, something all collectors must do. Just get a ledger or Trezor, and just, make sure you take everything off the exchanges. Yeah,
the best advice, which I think most of our listeners are fairly, have some experience. So this might be preaching to the choir, but I think, the best. I actually saw some random clip on Twitter of Kevin O'Leary of all people, but he had great advice. He said, crypto's too confusing for most people right now. It has to get less confusing and has to get easier to use. He said, right now, I would never advise someone to just jump in and invest a bunch of money. What I say is start with $200, only use $200, open up a MetaMask, figure out how to buy stuff, put it on your MetaMask, then eventually buy a ledger, figure out, he didn't say ledger, but, figure out how to buy, figure out all the technology. And if you lose $200, like whatever. But don't ape in with a bunch of real money, and then before you understand how security works, and there's a lot to understand, and you have to get your hands on it and really figure it out.
A couple of $100 is also enough if you've got that in Bitcoin or Ethereum. That's just enough money that you're going to keep a watchful eye on the market movements, and you start to get that feel for the ebb and flow of kind of prices, and without any skin in the game, you might check price periodically, but you don't have the same connection to it. I don't think you build quite as much of a affinity with what the market's doing when you've actually got money at stake, even if it is only like a small amount, a couple of $100 or whatever. It keeps you interested enough in what the price is doing to really start getting a feel for it.
Doquan makes a good point. There will always be another 3AC, another Celsius. There's always going to be like bigger whales coming in. Like next cycle, might be even bigger funds, hopping in the market. I totally agree with that.
Definitely. Yeah, I think with the 3AC coming in, that kind of drove a lot of the art block pump, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, the rumors are that the funds are here, and there's multiple multi-million-dollar funds or billionaires are here to traditional. It wasn't that the meme. The constant meme was, this trad art buyer has showed up with unlimited pots of cash. But yeah, that definitely didn't hurt the overall market at that point.
It does seem like we are getting more participants, especially we're seeing some of these celebrities come in. Like, for instance, we saw Jim Carrey release NFT, and
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, which is and he's like, he seems like he's ready to release something as well.
So none of us are buying NFTs now? Are you guys buying or looking at anything that you want to buy in the next couple of months?
I'm traditionally the last person to spend ETH on NFTs amongst us lot, but I've been looking at art blocks, certain projects, just watching the prices come down in dollar terms and thinking, wow, if I was ever gonna take the plunge on some of this stuff, it could be a good time. Like certain projects are only like a 2 to 2.5 ETH floor now. like meridians and stuff aren't that expensive, and I just if I was ever going to acquire any of those things, now might be a great time.
Rishi Roosh, she's talking about the whole Goblin Town founders being doxxed. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know anything about the people that were doxxed.
I think they're from Illuminati. There was a project from last summer.
Okay.
Or last year, I'm not sure when exactly. Actually, I think it's to be honest, I think it's gonna dump because people were expecting Yuga. But who knows?
No, I agree. Yeah, because there's like all sorts of speculation who it was. It was like Yuga, it was people, and even recently I saw Larva Labs. So yeah, I think because they know exactly who it is, like kind of the mystery is gone, and the shine has kind of what Pep was saying before. Sometimes it's like the goblins were the new project. It's like the new shiny object that everyone was interested in. I think some of that's going to start to fade now.
Everything's going to fade soon. No one's going to have any interest in NFTs at all for a couple of months. That's going to be a graveyard soon.
Yeah, well, we've seen it so many times. These projects get very hot. It just gets scorching hot for a while, and then it just starts. Yeah, you see it fade, and at a certain point, no one cares. Like, look at Cool Cats were just going off for a while, and one misstep, and now no one cares about them anymore.
How much is a Cool Cat? Like a floor Cool Cat?
I would guess a goblin is more. I bet it's close.
Shout out to Tiger in the chat. Send us a DM. Same applies to anyone that wants our attention for projects and things like that. But also appreciate that these guys, particularly the guys with bigger followings than me, they get so many message requests. So if you are ever DMing people, don't necessarily be sad if you don't get an instant reply. But yeah, if you've got anything you want to draw our attention to, always feel free to DM us. Okay, 3 ETH. What's that? It's not even. That's 1 ETH in my head. $3,000 or whatever. That's 1 ETH.
See, it's a pull of goblins. I guarantee goblins is more. Right? They're like 3.5 to 4.
Yeah, it's not far off there, basically.
It's close. Yeah, they've dipped it a little bit since the reveal.
So if you had, if you wanted to spend 3 ETH right now, what would you buy? A Cool Cat, a goblin?
Goblin, 1,000% goblins.
Yeah.
They actually look really cool.
I really like them, to be honest. I was good. And you guys saw that I was very close to buying, some like for a while. I just didn't pull the trigger, but yeah, I see the appeal in it. And I jumped into the spaces one time, and it was pretty hilarious. Just hearing them just kind of have fun with it and make those goblin noises.
Yeah, that was actually pretty nice. I enjoy that.
Yes, with these NFTs too, it's just all about community, right? And they have one of the strongest communities right now, and without that momentum,
it's kind of that transient community though. That, like you said, it jumps on the latest thing, and that was already starting to fade. And now with the doxing of the founders, maybe it fades even more. But that's always the argument. Like you said, when they were doing well a week or two ago, everyone was talking about, the community, isn't the community fantastic? Isn't it not? But it's basically the same few thousand people that were kind of aping into whatever was before that, and whatever was before that, and whatever was before that. Like, I don't know how many of these projects. Like, there's got to be a difference between the projects that are getting that transient community of pump chasers versus the projects that are actually building kind of a sticky community that will stick around throughout bear market if it through lost money and NFT value and stuff. Like, which projects do you think have got like the strongest community that has the potential to sustain even regardless of price, like price agnostic communities, I guess, is the thing.
CryptoPunks, man.
Yeah.
I'm betting a lot on CryptoPunks. I'm actually planning to buy one again, man, if it goes lower.
Yeah. I think you had the question, Pep, about what you're looking to buy next. Yeah, once I sell my Fidenza, I'm looking to buy another punk as well.
Nice. Have you got any specific traits or anything in mind that you're wanting, or just a good punk kind of thing?
Yeah, no, I'm just looking for a good punk. All punks are good, but looking for one that I don't know, that I can relate to. But yeah, punks are just so sticky. You can see it like when you're talking about people that switch their profile pictures out to whatever the newest hot trend is. You see, I think punk holders and also Bored Ape holders tend to just keep their profile picture more. You see them, they've formed an identity around them. But with all these other PFPs, it seems like they just get rotated in and out continuously.
Got the question on Twitter.
25K. I could actually see them going to 25K. I'm not gonna lie. Like in a severe bear market, I could see them going to 25K.
Yeah, and to me, the reason I like punk so much is, and whatever profile picture that works the best is, they're like so distinct. The thing I don't like about goblins is when you see someone with the goblin PFP, I can't really tell who is who, which is, that's the piece that, like, when you see punks, you instantly, they're so varied that the traits are, pretty iconic. So you know who that person is just seeing the picture, and even somewhat with the apes. But yeah, with the goblins, I don't know if I recognize any of them.
Man, if it goes to 25K, I'm gonna wow. I'm gonna go on a shopping spree for punks. That'll be fantastic. Are there any particular traits you guys are looking for if you're buying a punk?
I do. I love the gold chains. Yes. That's always been one of my favorites. Yeah, Plum has a great one with the hoodie and the gold chain. I'm thinking about getting a female punk just to give so my wife can have a punk also, but we'll see.
Nice. So, would you rather have one punk or one Bitcoin?
I saw that in chat. That's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah. Long term.
I think
how many Bitcoin have I already got? Yeah, and how many punks?
That's the thing. Yeah, I think that would be the tiebreaker. I think it's close, but it just depends on what your current holdings are. If you have none of each, I'd probably go with the Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you know what? I think one punk would outperform one BTC next cycle.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah. I could see punks reaching a one, as much as it sounds like ridiculous right now with the whole market collapsing, like I could see them hitting a 1 mil floor in, let's say, 10 years. It's hard for me to see Bitcoin hitting even 500K in 10 years.
Have you guys ever bought into the $2.5 million Bitcoin projections or whatever wherever the old comparison was? Compare it to the Forex market or the gold market, wherever it is that people used to do to extrapolate and get this $2.5 million Bitcoin. Have you guys ever sort of prescribed to that, or is it?
I don't, but I'll always hold one Bitcoin and I will never sell it, man. Just in case one day it actually happens.
What about you, Van?
Yeah, I same deal. Like, I think I've only kept one Bitcoin. I actually ended up it wasn't really selling, but I converted to other coins along the way. But I always kept one Bitcoin. It just felt right, just to make sure I had one.
I say if BTC goes to 15K, That's like a pretty wow, man. That's actually a pretty good price to start buying. I think it's a given in a couple of years Bitcoin is going to hit 100,000. I think it's programmed, like non-financial advice. So if you buy a bunch at 15K, it's pretty you get 10 or something.
What does Tim Draper say? I haven't looked at Tim Draper for a while. He's always
no idea, man.
Has he been in the news at all? He's like back in the day. He was who bought the Silk Road Bitcoins, was he?
Was him?
Yeah. He when Bitcoin was down under 1,000, he came out with the 20K and 25K predictions or whatever, and was ridiculed. And then obviously in hindsight, what Chad. And then more recently, in recent years, he'd made this 250K prediction, and I thought. The reason I mentioned it is because I thought I maybe seen a few weeks ago that he was in the press again. But yeah, he's done another round of kind of talking heads and media and stuff. Still standing by his prediction of 250K. And like I say, back then when he made the first wild predictions, and people thought he was a madman. People literally ridiculed him. And yeah, he's still sticking to his guns. He still gets behind the whole 250K thing.
He's still around. Didn't he? Wasn't he involved in VeChain in some way also?
Okay, possibly. Yeah, I'm sure he's. I don't know. Yeah, quite possible. He must have all sorts of. He famously bought.
The reason it makes me think of it is I don't know if you guys watched the UFC this past weekend, but I saw VeChain was like a sponsor for that pay-per-view, which is interesting. It was like plastered everywhere. I'm pretty sure
VeChain was dead.
Yeah, I thought it was dead too, because I actually owned a bunch back in the day, and
weirdly enough,
I thought it was going to do really well.
Out of my friends that got into crypto in the last couple of years, a couple of them have really it's not the only bag they've had, but yeah, a certain percentage of normies are like really bought into the whole VeChain thing. I think it's an attractive narrative that the corporate blockchain kind of vibe or whatever. I can't think of the terminology. But yeah, that's always an attractive narrative to new people, because they think, enterprise blockchain. There we go. That's the term I was reaching for. But enterprise blockchain. If you've been around for a while, you've seen a lot of these projects come and go, and it's a joke almost. But to new participants, it seems like, these are real world applications for blockchain. So UFC and VeChain announce historic global market partnership.
$100 million marketing deal with them.
Wow.
That brings back memories, Pep. Oh my goodness.
Enterprise blockchains and
Dude, we got wrecked so hard with that in 2018.
Yeah, this is definitely turning into the coin podcast today. But
a therapy session.
Yeah, it is. It's a therapy session. We're going down memory lane and all the shit coins that we invested in back then.
I thought that earlier when Deb said Aeon, which I'd forgotten all about. But were you like a big bag holder of Aeon at one point?
Dude, I was like, so we were like hardcore community members in the Telegram, man. We used to like go into other Telegrams and like FUD other projects.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. And you know what's sad? There are like two guys that they're really smart. Well, I guess they're not really smart, but they just stuck around, man. They're still in the Telegram, just talking about the project, even though like Matt exit scam. It's just really sad. Really fucking sad, man. That's why you never hold your bag for too long. Always take profits. And if something looks bad, just sell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that I can't remember. Someone else had that rule a few days ago. People were talking about the rules. Yeah, and it's a good rule of thumb. If anything feels remotely sketchy, just go with your gut and get out.
GTFO.
yeah, or at least taking off the table that if the thing does ultimately turn out to be as much of a scam as you currently suspect it is, at least you took money out.
Yeah,
that's kind of that was
for sure
my selling policy in general with the NFTs and stuff. Some of the way I was able to sell a bit more earlier is by And I think Deb kind of helped me come to this realization with his whole, could I buy a house with this rule? But like that definitely helped me to think like, if this goes completely belly up tomorrow, am I going to be sad right now with how much realized profit I've got from it? Because if that's true, then I better realize some more fucking profit.
I'm actually really, I'm actually contemplating buying like an X copy, like even additional work or just something. I found the prices look very tasty right now.
Yep, definitely. That's actually one that I've been looking at closely and trying to build my collection of X copies. I think to me, all X copies are just blue chips. He stands apart from the rest of the artists out there.
Totally.
Did you see that trade that the
Anonymous?
grifter for the that was a pretty crazy trade.
What was
it?
It
155 ETH plus 4 grifters.
For what?
For a 101 X
copy.
Nice.
Okay.
That's decent. Honestly, if there was an X copy right now for one, I wouldn't go one. That's too much for me, man. But 100 ETH, I'd probably buy it, which is never going to happen.
101. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's always been on the like the bucket list, wanting to own a 101 X copy.
It's hard to spend. I find it really hard to spend ETH right now because the upside is going to be incredible, right? One day, well, hopefully. Just what's going to outperform is the X copy going to outperform the ETH, or is the ETH going to outperform X copy? We'll be talking about this in 2 years, and we could look back. We should have that in 2-3 years. We should come back to these podcasts and discuss it.
Yeah, look at the predictions and
reminisce.
The real 100 ETH challenge.
Yeah. We can revise.
See the audience.
Yeah, I think we should do like a revised challenge where we look at it in a very much a long term and just choose some grails that we think are just going to outperform the rest.
Cool. Should we go on?
Yeah. What happened to Scaly? Is he?
He said on Twitter in DM that he had to go. I think he was in trouble with the missus or whatever. But
got it. He had to drop off. Okay.
I'm happy to continue or happy to call it a wrap, whatever you guys want to do.
I'm going to go hit the sack. Exhausted.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Right. Well, we could chatting, and if the market's getting you down, try not to let it get you down too much, I guess, is my closing thought.
Yeah, we'll come back to talking about NFTs.
Less fungible next time.
Exactly.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you all for listening to us and joining us.
Yeah. Respect to everyone in the chat. Thanks if you shared it. We're gonna be back in about a week's time. Look out for the recording of this on Spotify and all of the places that podcasts exist. Catch you guys later.